Welcome once again to our heart to heart town hall meeting. I am so excited about being here. I'm Cheryl Jackson. For those who you don't know, I am the midday host. I'm executive producer for Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell and midday host at Praise 104.1. And I am excited about this conversation. I love talking to FSC first, specifically Dawn. I think she and I got a thing. Like we've got great camaraderie. I'm really excited to have President and CEO of FSC First is Dawn Medley. How are you, Dawn?
I'm well. Thank you, Cheryl. And thank you for having us back.
Oh, I'm excited to be back. And I see you brought some friends and some more information to share. So the Vice President and Business Director of the Small Business Administration, right, is Steward Smith. He's with us today. Hi, Steward.
Hey, Cheryl, good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you today. Also, from the Small Business Administration is Larry G. Webb. Hi, Larry. How you doing?
Good evening. Happy to be here. Nice to meet you, Cheryl.
Wonderful. And we have a business owner with us. We love talking to business owners. It's Marvara Isaac. Hi, Marva.
Hi, thank you.
Marvara. I'm sorry, let me correct. Marvara Isaac.
Yes, thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here as well tonight.
Thank you. I'll give you an opportunity to introduce your business and how it all connects with FSC First in just a few moments. But if you're watching via YouTube, if you're watching via Facebook, like and share. Hi, Gregory Johnson. Thank you. He said to the illustrious panel. He's already claiming it, right? Knowing that who we are. So if you're watching via Facebook, if you're watching via YouTube, like and share. Tell everybody about this conversation. We've been talking about it all week on the show, especially if you are a small business or if you're a business in the state of Maryland. We've got some great information to share with you. Now, this town hall meeting is called Pathways to Prosperity, FSC First and Small Business Administration partnering to support business growth. Dawn, we're going to jump right in. Can you provide a brief overview of the partnership between FSC First and SBA and how it benefits small businesses? Both you and Steward, you and Larry can take that question.
Okay, well, let me reintroduce Mr. Webb. He is actually the district director of the U.S. Small Business Administration. And I'm also joined, as you mentioned, by Stu Smith, who's the VP of Business Development at FSC First.
Gotcha.
And FSC, we're getting up there in years. We're 46 years old. We were established in 1978. But since 1982, when we became a designated Certified Development Company, or CDC for short, by the U.S. Small Business Administration, FSC has proudly provided innovative financing solutions to grow established and emerging businesses throughout the state of Maryland. And we're passionate advocates for entrepreneurship. And as a result, we have built relationships like the one with the SBA that have helped generate millions of dollars in loan funding for small and underrepresented businesses, adding hundreds of jobs to the community while supporting thousands more. And many of our offerings focus on uplifting very small businesses, veteran-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, helping to ensure equal access to finance opportunities.
Awesome. Larry, you want to jump in? Is he frozen? All right. Oh, I don't know if he heard. Okay, so what are some of the specific programs that
it appears I'm having a little technical difficulty, so I hope that you can hear me. We are excited and also proud to be in partnership with FSC First. As your audience may or may not know, that CDC designation that Don spoke about is SBA's way of really leaning into making sure that communities that would not otherwise receive funding and capital get that funding and capital they need to start, grow, and expand their businesses. And so that's one of the ways that we do that. Other ways that we do that, and FSC is on the leading edge of this, we were just talking before everyone got online, is they have been a long time provider of our 7A capital. They still do that. they continue to do that. And that is a way, once again, for small businesses. In this particular case, this is, I think, the CA Capital, that they are part of the program with. Up to $350,000 and grow, start, and expand their businesses. And so it is more than an honor. It is absolutely necessary that the SBA work with organizations and entities like FSC First, because they're in the communities and they are helping communities that would not otherwise be funded. And we know that as don't start, communities don't grow and communities don't develop. And so it is a great honor to be in partnership with FSC.
Absolutely. And some of the town halls that we've had, we've had some other businesses on who talked about the benefits of FSC First and really just gave us an opportunity to know what is right here in our backyard. That's one of the things that always intrigues me, Dawn, is that a lot of people still don't know about FSC First. A lot of businesses still don't know that these programs exist for them, and that there's budget, and that there's money, and that there's ways to get it. There's ways to learn how to get it once you have it, and how to keep it. And FSC First has provided that kind of training. So what are some specific programs that allow businesses to access capital because of the partnership that you have with the Small Business Administration, Dawn?
Well, because of the SBA and that CDC designation, one program that we have, our flagship program, is the SBA 504 Real Estate Program. This program supports the ability for business owners to purchase the place that they do business in, as well as being able to purchase large machinery and equipment. In addition, as Larry mentioned, we also have a delegated authority for what we have called the Small Business Thrive Fund, but it's the program that is backed by the SBA. SBA provides a guarantee through the CA SBLC program for loans up to $350,000, and for uses like operating capital, smaller real estate deals, equipment, and inventory.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, talk a little bit more. One of the more impactful programs, you said, the SBA 504. How does SBA 504 program differ from other commercial real estate financing options available with the Small Business Administration?
Well, the 50 program is kind of like a participation loan. That's where
Gotcha.
a bank partner, and FSC, and the borrower and their equity provide the financing to structure and fund the whole project. So this program makes it possible for the business owner to then purchase that commercial building where they're operating. They can receive a fixed rate for 25 years fixed. And right now their rate is around 6.3%. And they're able to have a low down payment, usually 10%. If they're a startup, maybe an additional 15%, maybe 15%. So it's additional 5% on top of the 10. And if they happen to be wanting to purchase a special purpose building, so like a hotel, for example, there'd be an additional 5%. So 20% on a building like that. But for the most part, most of the deals that are done, low down payment of 10%. And as a CDC, FSC can lend up to $5.5 million of that capital stack, but the bank can lend up to whatever their lending limit is for such a transaction. So it really doesn't have a natural cap at all.
Wow. Gregory said it, and I'm saying it. That is absolutely crazy. And so, there are businesses that are struggling right now that don't know that these programs exist. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, share this with the business. Hi, Gregory. He says, good evening, Mr. Jackson. Can you access the information on FSC First, the website? Dawn?
Yes.
Can you access that information?
Absolutely. And you can actually apply online as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow. See there. Okay. All right. I'm excited to talk to Marvara and Marvara. I want to get your name right, sis. I promise
it's
you.
Different.
Can you tell us about your entrepreneurial journey and how you started working with FSC First and the Small Business Administration? And before you get started, I love these conversations, because this is real life experiences of how they've benefited, businesses has benefited from both organizations. So yeah,
Absolutely.
first tell us your business, and then tell us how you've started working with FSC First and the Small Business Administration.
Sure, absolutely. So, back in 2008 is when I began this journey with the martial arts aspect of my now life. Of my background, I'm a registered nurse, and so health and wellness is very near and dear to my heart. But also, I'm a martial artist. I've been training for the past 20 years. And so, if you would have asked me 20 years ago, 25 years ago, would I be owning a martial arts school? I probably would have laughed at you, honestly. But they do marry with me being a registered nurse and what it is that I do, because it is all about not just your physical health, but your emotional and your mental well-being as well. So with that being said, back in 2008 is when I began here in Upper Marlboro with the Martial Arts School located in the Villages of Marlboro Shopping Center. So it's been almost 15 years. And how I got started, actually, and I don't think Steward knows this or Dawn, is just really trying to figure out how to get started. And so someone mentioned the Small Business Development Center. And so I started there at the one in College Park. And so I kind of had an idea or a beginning with the SBA. In that aspect, I got a small loan with them then. And it was truly a lifesaver. At that time in 2008, I believe the stock market was like crashing. We had a pretty difficult time during that period. And so it was very helpful to have them in my corner. Also, they helped with learning things about writing a business plan and knowing about your demographics, where you're going to start your business, just everything that you need to know of import, having a good accountant, having a good attorney, the foundational things that you need to start a good business, they gave those resources. So the Small Business Development Center helped me to find that first loan. And then fast forward here now to where it is that I am right now. And so just a little background about my business is not only do we teach martial arts, we have an after school program and a summer camp program, in which case we've become kind of a pillar in the community here in the Upper Marlboro area, where over the past 15 years, we've serviced thousands of families in just assisting their children with whether it's emotional growth, mental growth, and physical growth, as well as a place for them to go in during the afternoon, a positive environment where they're learning how to develop leadership skills and confidence building and improve focus is what it is that we do. And so I've been renting here for the past 15 years. And what I was looking to do is to really expand in the community with a larger footprint to be able to do what it is that we do for our children and our adults. And so I'm looking to actually build, as Dawn was mentioning, and own my own property. When you rent and something, you can't pass anything on, you can't sell anything off. So at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like it's yours. And so meeting Steward, a friend of mine, actually introduced me to Steward. And I had no idea. I didn't realize that FSC First was in our community, unfortunately. But what I can say about FSC First, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is that they are your superheroes that don't wear capes. As far as when it comes, I mean that when it comes to your business, if you are not in contact and connected with FSC First and you're a small business here in this area, you're missing out on an awesome opportunity to, if you want to grow your business, if you honestly want to grow your business, you're missing out on an opportunity in order to do so. And so from there, there's awesome programs that they have. They have connections with banks that otherwise you wouldn't know about. You would have to go and visit 20, 30 banks, or even across the country. They have the connections that you need in order to grow your business. And then, of course, the opportunities with the SBA and the 7A loan and the lower interest rates. if you're looking to have a successful business and to financially grow and be successful, to be honest with you, unless you know you have a uncle that
A rich uncle.
no, exactly, to be able to fund your program, then you're missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime.
I love that. I love that. And this is the testimony I'm hearing. So if you're in our chat on Facebook, and if you're on YouTube and you know a small business, go ahead and tag them to this live, so that they can hear all of the things and all the programs that's offered to them. Because one of the things, as I've been saying to Dawn all the many times that we've come on, is that our job is to get out into the community and let them know about FSC first. And now with the partnership that they have with, the partnership that they've always had with the Small Business Administration. I mean, that is the whole reason we do these lives, is so that you will know that these resources, this help is provided for you. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Gregory. All right. So, Steward, what are the key eligibility criteria for business looking to apply for one of the loans, such as the SBA 504 loan that we just talked about?
Absolutely. Let me address the eligibility requirements, and there are quite a few of them. So if you don't write them all down, we'll be glad to get those to you after the session. But I'm going to give you everything you need to know, everything you need to be to take advantage of the SBA 504 program. For FSC first, you must be operating in the state of Maryland, not just Prince George's County, but anywhere in the state of Maryland. Your business must be operating as a profitable entity. As Dawn mentioned, there are minimum down payment requirements that are cheaper than banks, normally 10%. And if you're a startup, 15%, special use, 20%. The owner has to occupy the property in question up to 51% of an existing structure or 61% of a new construction location. You have to have positive net income to give us the opportunity to see that you can service the debt you're requesting. You have to have reasonable timeline expectations for us to process your request, and we will do that to the best of our ability. But just understand that it is a process. If your business needs heavy equipment, the SBA 504 program can handle those transactions as well. You cannot be engaged in passive activities. You can't be engaged in speculative activities. You must meet job creation numbers, meaning that you have to hire people to put in that new facility you're gaining. You can't purchase and hold real estate. That real estate has to be purchased and utilized as a part of that functioning business entity. Big one, you cannot have defaulters on any federal loans previously, and the loan must be repayable from cash flow generated from the project in question. In other words, the operating entity of itself. So those are pretty basic things that owners of businesses have to bring to the table. And we can talk with everybody one-on-one about any specifics that they may have. But our goal is to get everyone qualified and eligible so we can bring this top product to market for you, so you can save money and put a key asset on your balance sheet.
Absolutely.
That is so good. And so I loved how you started from the beginning to say this is for any business in the state of Maryland, because I don't want people to think that it's just a county-wide situation, but it is for the entire state of Maryland. And some of the requirements were clear. Can you walk us through the application process? I see that some of our listeners are already, or viewers are already asking questions about, they've already started going on to the website, even while the live is going on, and they started asking questions, Steward. So can you walk us briefly through the application process?
Cheryl, I'll be glad to go through the application process and try to make that simple.
Mhm.
First, individuals must have a specific property identified with a sales contract or pending LOI. Individuals have to have their accountant prepared financial statements and tax returns. And again, time management is the key. Residential brokers don't understand the SBA 504 program, So getting it done in a 30-day time frame really doesn't happen. You're more like 60, 90, 120 days. But as Dawn said earlier, FSC.com is the portal for your access to capital at FSC First. And we are the premier non-bank lender in our marketplace. You will actually go to the loan programs and click About Now. And there are several documents that you're going to have available that I encourage everybody to have available in advance. You're going to complete the entire application online. You're going to be asked to upload some critical documents that we'll do our analysis on to get you qualified. Those being your business plan or executive summary, a personal financial statement. We're going to ask you for 3 years of personal and business tax returns, 3 years of personal and business bank statements. We're going to want to see a cash flow projection, that your accountant has prepared for you. And we also want to see any debt schedule that you may have for other liabilities that are out in the marketplace. We're going to ask you for an interim financial statement. When I say interim, I mean now we're in June, so we're going to need to see your profit and loss and balance sheet, hopefully through at least April or May of the current year, so we can take what you've done on your previous year's tax returns and make those current. But what we're going to do at FSC First is that we're going to hold your hand through the whole application process. And one tip I'd like to give everybody, understand that when I or one of my teammates reach out to you, there are going to be questions. Please be prepared to answer those questions that we ask you to the best of your ability, and don't be defensive, because in the end, we have to be your advocate for your access to capital, and asking those questions just gives us information that we can better bring cash to the table for you and your business needs. So again, FSCFirst.com, go to our loan products, apply now, and you will be able to go through the whole application process. And when you complete it successfully, you will get an email, saying that you submitted your application successfully. And then either I or one of my associates will give you a call and start what we call intake management to make sure we've got everything that we need so we can actually get things up and running for you.
I like it. So don't get an attitude because they're asking questions. They're going to ask questions. Anytime you need to borrow money, you know that they're going to really dig into your financials. But one of the things, John, that I love about FSC First is that if they're not ready and prepared to receive, to accept this loan, you guys have programs that will help walk them through the process or get them to the place of where they can. And that's one of the things I love about FSC First is the programs that you guys have to prepare them. So, Marvara, tell us what your experience was like when you applied for your loan.
Okay, what I want to share with everyone is, as he said, you have to have your ducks in a row, but don't be overwhelmed. Okay,
that's good.
Don't be overwhelmed by the process. Take it one bite at a time. What they say is keep the end in mind. So keep the end in mind, but start at the top. So there's going to be things that they're going to ask you for. Get your stuff prepared, your financials. I always say a good business, if you're not there yet, a great accountant is key to your business, because I can't tell you how many times they may ask you for your financials. So for you to prepare that. And so it's a process, but again, and I've been in this process for a while. I've known Steward and these guys for some time now, because what I'm doing is a bit different. I'm here in Prince George's County and building. And so they have truly walked me through the process. But again, before you start the process, listen to what Steward just said, or have your information ready so that it doesn't prolong the process. So that you can kind of walk through it as smoothly as you can, and also to be transparent. You don't want to try to hide anything and then go down this road, and then 6 to 9 months later, because you weren't forthright, then this was all for naught. So be as transparent. They're your advocates, as he mentioned, because they have to talk to other banks and the SBA, and so they want to be able to I guess transparently talk to them about their client. And so once you build that relationship, and I believe that we built that relationship, and some of the little bumps that we've come in contact with through this building process, now that they know me, they can go and advocate and say, hey, well, listen, we know Marvara, we know her financials. She shared this with us. This business is X, Y, and Z. They've been doing this for so long. And so, it's been a process, but because of who FSC First is, they're passionate about Steward, Dawn, and the rest of their team. It's not just something that they've gone into and it's a job. They're passionate about what it is that they do. And if you're passionate about what it is that you do, and you have to be passionate to go through this process. If you're growing a business, it has to be your baby. And so they're passionate. This is your baby. That passion together, you're going to be successful then in getting this done as long as you have your ducks in a row. It's pretty simple.
I love it. I love it. And I love how you say, and they'll help you get your ducks in a row, right?
They will help you get your ducks in the row. And as I mentioned before, me starting with did it go away? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you. I have you. I got you. Yeah.
Okay. But as I mentioned, the foundational aspects of starting your business has to be there too, right? That's why, going to the Small Business Development Center for me was important because, as he mentioned, you having a business plan, if that's necessary for you to have, all the things that you have to have, they're in your community. For you to be able to then get to the point where you can have a 7A loan, for you to have the community advantage loans. If you start at the resources there, then to me, this won't be as difficult if you have the foundation set from the beginning.
Absolutely. Some of the things that Stewart was rattling off, I guess some business owners might have been scratching their heads. I was thinking, like, you got to have what now? And what
it sounds scary. It really does. But like, oh my goodness, I have to start do a business. They will walk you through the process. They will walk you through how do I write a business plan? You go to the Small Business Development Center. If you don't know, if you don't have a friend, they haven't done it before, go to your SBDC. They will help you or walk you through that process. And so if you know about these resources, somebody said a great accountant is critical. It absolutely is critical. Just like, having a good physician, being a registered nurse. If you have a great doctor, you don't leave them. If you have a great accountant, you stick by them. It's critical to have that as well to go through this process.
Absolutely. Larry, you had something you was about to
I just now that I'm back on and connected, I just wanted to piggyback on some of the things that Marvara said, as well as Steward. Thank you so much, Marvara, for talking about the resource partners that are out there. That is really key. The SBA does lots of things. We help people access capital. We help people in the government contracting arena, if that is what you are trying to do. But for me, the most important thing that we do is that we provide this free and low cost access to business mentors and counselors. Because if you're going to start a business, or even if you're already in business and you're trying to expand or grow or move to the next level, these are not things that are intuitive. Just because you're a good baker or a good scientist or a good accountant doesn't mean that you're going to be a good business person. So just like those other things that you went into, those other fields, you have to learn what this is about. And running a business isn't just you doing the thing that you like. It's hiring people and contracts and accounting and negotiating and setting deadlines and working with partners, both business partners and other types of customers. And so in order to do that in an effective way that actually makes money, people need to learn how to do that. And that's what we do with your tax dollars. We've already used your tax dollars. I say free or low cost, but it's not free. We've already paid for it. So she mentioned the Small Business Development Centers, which are nationwide. We also have the Women's Business Centers, which are also nationwide, that are in this community. There are women's business centers in Prince George's County, in Montgomery County, and all over Maryland, for those who are in the Maryland area. And for those viewers or live audience participants that are in other parts of the country who may have just stumbled on this because they heard it was about small businesses, know that all of these resources that we're talking about, other than FSC First, of course, FSC First is in Maryland. But all of those resources are in every city and state around the country. The SBA is in all 50 states. We have 68 district offices around the country. So if you just go to SBA.gov and put in local assistance, put your zip code in, all of those resources are going to be available to you 5, 10, 15, 20, however many miles away from you. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that. Just a couple of the points I wanted to mention. I can say this because I'm not a lender. And I don't want to, Steward and Don may not feel comfortable saying this. They do care and they will work with you. But let's be very, very clear. Underwriters don't care about your dream. They care if they're going to get paid back. And so as a small business, when you are going out for a loan or you're going out for a line of credit or you're going out for a grant, some people are going out for grants. The person who is reading that application, the people that are reading the application want to know that you are profitable or want to know that they are going to get what they are bargaining for, even in a grant situation. And so it behooves you to know your stuff. Yes, it's good to have a lawyer and an accountant, but you need to know your business better than anybody else. You need to be able, when Steward calls, when he said don't get offended, what he was trying to say is know your stuff. Because the only
absolutely
right, I'm translating for you, Steward, and the reason
know your stuff. Yes,
know
your stuff. Yeah.
Because if you can't explain your finances, if you have to call now, if it's complicated, we all get that. But if you can't explain if you're profitable or not, if you can't explain what it is that you're doing, if you can't explain what happened in the last 6 months that made that dip, or made you have more money, that makes you look more profitable, those are important things for you to know. And that's what they help you do within FSC First through their programs and their counseling. But that also happens throughout other counseling. And the last thing I wanted to mention is this. I talk about the SBA because, that's my job and I really do enjoy this work. But every community around the country, both state, local, and federal, has programs to support small businesses. And the reason that they have programs to support small businesses is because small businesses hire, they pay taxes, and they are the lifeblood of communities. So if you are in College Park, or you're in Rockville, or you're in Bethesda, or you're in Laurel, your city, as well as your county, has programs to support you. And I say that because SBA is in we work with all of the local, we work with Prince George's County, we work with Montgomery County, we work with the state of Maryland. All of those forces together are what helps small businesses. So please don't feel like you have to recreate the wheel. In going through this, I think we might have lost our host for a second, but I'm sure she'll be right back. And in the interim, Dawn, I will pass it back over to you guys. Since I
wanted to segue though, if that's okay, if I have permission to do so, with what you just said, as far as when they are not there, it's important for you to know your information. Again, like we said, they will hold your hand through the process. You got the SBDs, the Small Business Development Center, that will kind of help you to lay that foundation. But at the end of the day, it's your business. And so when you get to that point with the underwriters, they want to speak to you. They're not asking to speak to you alongside of Steward or anyone else there at FSC First. And so not too long ago, I had about an hour-long conversation with underwriters that were really drilling me with a lot of questions about my business and the past 5 years and what happened during COVID. And so they really expect for you to know, why did you have, as you mentioned, what was this growth about? How did that happen? What was, back COVID, was this growth because, so you really need to be able to answer and fire off those questions that they're going to ask you as well. So that is important. To know your business is important as well. Yeah.
And we're asking those questions to help us tell your story, right? You heard earlier, we're your advocate. Marvara said that, so that we can tell your story for you, because you can't be in the room with the underwriter. That's what we're going to be in the room telling your story to the underwriter, making sure they understand it so they can clearly communicate it to the SBA so that we can get an approval and a guarantee for your loan. And Cheryl is back.
I'm back. I'm back. Technology kicked me out, but I'm back. I want to talk a little bit about best practices and advice. So, Steward, what's the best practice can you recommend for businesses to maximize the benefits of FSC First and the SBA loan program? See, they're seeing you guys as the police right now, Steward, because you gave us all these technical things and all the stuff that we need. And you done gave the people anxiety, Steward, a little bit. So talk about best practices right now. Kind of put some salve on that, on your recommendation.
I'll be glad to address that. And thank you, Larry, for the interpretation. I really appreciate it. So, in terms of best practices and advice, I've got several nuggets that I want to cross-pollinate to everyone out there. And please take this for what it's worth. Preparation, preparation, and preparation. Exclamation point. Be prepared for the process. Have often in early conversations with our business development team before something urgent comes up, kind of forecast your short-term and long-term needs. Talk to us about those so we can start, giving you some tips, giving you some directions, doing some what ifs to make sure that it's viable and you aren't wasting your time. Marvara said this one very, very clear. Be transparent. Be transparent and accurate with regard to your personal and business affairs. You can't hide anything from us. It might sound good, but trust me, as we go through our due diligence, we're going to find out things, and it's better for you to tell us than to come up with, oh, snap, now how are we going to deal with that? So be very, very clear. So if there's a credit issue you had, tell us. If there are things in your business that have you not performing the way you want to perform for some reason, tell us. And if you're looking at maybe a longer term funding program, share with us your past 3 years of tax returns and let us or let me go through those and tell you, is what you're asking for, doable just on the ability to repay that debt, not full blown underwriting, but just can you afford it? And earlier, we talked about accountants. For all of y'all out there that have an accountant, I will tell you a great accountant will give you on a monthly basis without asking a copy of your most recent profit and loss statement, a copy of your balance sheet. If you're not getting those, I would say you might want to rethink who your accountant is. But also, don't make the mistake that I hear a lot of small businesses make, that they're trying to minimize their tax liability by writing everything off and or showing losses. As I said before, we look at your ability to repay loans based on a positive bottom line. Red numbers aren't going to cut it. Writing everything else off is not going to cut it. So show strength. Show that you're creating profit. Show that you're creating wealth so we can help you.
If I could add on to that, Cheryl, I always say once a lender sees you, they saw you. And sometimes if you're at a bank, that could be an issue. Sometimes you don't get a chance to explain or revise or, think about those assumptions or those projections again. They're going to take you at your word that you presented to them exactly what you meant to say. And sometimes, those ducks kind of get out of row. And maybe some of the terminology that Stu threw at you, you're like deer in the headlights, or there's no way I have that prepared. I'll never be able to borrow. That list was so long. It's okay. At FSC, we created a program for you if you're that business owner. It's called the Level Up Program. We'll get you there because it's an exceptional technical assistance program that provides training, coaching, mentoring, and the professional services. We can marry you with that professional service person, that accountant, the tax preparer. The tax preparer gets a lot of people because the taxes are not prepared. So we can marry you with those professional services that you need to meet you where you are currently in your business. We've got a vast curriculum that we run every month. The topics are varied from financial management systems, key documentation, your accounting systems, Can you work QuickBooks? Do you even have QuickBooks? Financial statements and ratios. By the time we're done with you, you'll be able to understand QuickBooks enough to be able to run your own financial statements and provide them to a lender, any lender, including FSC, as well as classes on even more detail on going through the loan application process. So, it's okay if not all the ducks are in the row today. We can help you get them in row and prepare you to be able to apply. We have a level up to loan program so that when you go through our technical assistance program, the end result is that you're able to actually get a business loan, maybe the first one your business has ever had. We help you tackle things like that business plan. We have a platform called Live Plan to help you develop that business plan, as well as an army of insurance people, tax preparation people, bookkeepers. All of them are ready to serve you and able to get your business to where you need to be so that you can borrow that capital that you need.
Sure.
That's what I love.
If I could segue on some things.
Let me,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Steward.
No, I was going to say, Dawn eloquently said the benefit of FSC first. We are not a commercial bank. You go to commercial banks right now, that door can get slammed on you pretty quick. We exhibit flexibility in our loan process. We try to say, okay, if that bank couldn't do it, how can we do it? And one thing I tell a lot of people that I deal with, I try not to hit people with a hard no. I try to hit people with a not now. But let's see if we can get you ready by going through some of the programs Dawn spoke about, so you will be able to get access to capital that's there. But the good news everybody needs to hear is that access to capital is real. In our world, FSC First is getting very close to having $100 million in our toolbox that we can put on the street for small businesses in Maryland. So don't let anyone tell you we don't have money to lend. We do. It's there. So work with us so we can work with you to make that happen.
I love it. I want to answer Cynthia Marshall McFarland's question. She said, any specific credit counseling available? Apologies if the question has been asked. And one of the things you talked about, Dawn, was the Level Up program. I think that will be great, especially, for those who may have challenged credit or who have, whose businesses have had some credit issues. The Level Up program, again, walks you through the process and prepares you. It takes you to, it's the road to your loan, right? And that's the best thing about FSC First. And now in partnership with the Small Business Administration, using these as tools to help you get to the place where Steward can say yes.
Yeah, I think Larry wanted to co-sign.
Yes, Larry, go ahead.
I absolutely want to co-sign that. Steward and Dawn have, as well as Marvara, have talked about that relationship piece. I just wanted to double down on that slightly. This level of relationship they're talking about is the level of relationship that you should be wanting and desiring in any lender that you're dealing with. You should have a lender, and I use the word lender as opposed to bank because all lenders are not banks. And if you don't know that, then there's more work to be done on your part to do the research. That's why we have the Small Business Development Centers and the Women's Business Center and SCORE and folks like FSC to help you understand. A lot of people, a lot of Black and brown people specifically, don't understand the business community as well as they should in order to take advantage of it. And it's that lack of understanding that has oftentimes kept us from moving forward or kept communities from moving forward. This is your opportunity to, once again, level up, right? This is your opportunity to talk to someone unapologetically, to not know, but to gain the knowledge. Steward talks about building relationships. For those of you who are introverts, who are also business owners, it's time to buck up because
that shell.
You got to, or you got to find a partner to do it with you. If that's not your get down, that's okay. But building relationships is going to be key to establishing your business, but also your business growing. Building that relationship with your lender, having them on speed dial, because at the 11th hour, as Steward talked about, if you get a contract and you need to hire some folks or you need to get some machinery or whatever to fulfill that contract, you can't be calling at the 11th hour talking about I need $100,000. That's the relationship that should already have been established, that they should have already known that you were going after these contracts, that this was something that was on the horizon, and that they were prepared to either help you or send you somewhere else to get the help that you need. And the last thing I would just mention, once again, I'm doubling down on something. They talked about advocacy. I'm going to talk about trust. As a recovering attorney, I've done criminal law and civil law and other things. If your client doesn't give you the correct information, you cannot advocate for them properly.
Right.
If your client is telling you lies or not telling you the whole story, then you're not able to advocate for them fully. It's so, I know it's a cliche, but closed mouths don't get fed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to speak up. You have to speak the truth in order to get to the next level. If there are credit problems, if there was the bankruptcy, if you don't have any idea how to pay your bills on time, this is the time to stand up, speak the truth, and get the help, or rethink if this is the goal that you want for yourself as a business owner. And I don't say that lightly, but if you're not willing to take those steps, then you really have to rethink. Maybe this isn't the time for me. Maybe this is not what I want to do right now, because businesses that don't grow die.
Right. That's good.
I'm
And
sorry.
I love too what
That was
Dawn
real. That was dark. I'm sorry.
That was very profound. That was very profound. Very profound. I love too
Sorry.
what Dawn, when you're applying for other loans, they see and they saw, right? You can't unsee what they saw. But with FSC First, there's some things, if they say no, it's some things that you can do to line yourself up to get better prepared so that the lender can say yes. And that's what I love about this program. I keep reiterating that. Marvara, let's talk about best practices really quick. What would you say to other businesses that are looking for access to capital, and what would you tell them about FSC First?
As I mentioned before, share, first of all, this information with others in our community. As you've already heard, a wellspring of great information in what they have to offer you and your business. As far as best practice, as they mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, transparency is of the utmost in ensuring that, as they said, you know your business, that before you, there are ways to get to what it is that you want. If you're looking to grow your business, there are ways to get there. You want a loan and you want to own your own property, or you want to have this very, very profitable business. There's steps to take, and don't be overwhelmed by the steps. It's one step at a time. I have a saying actually on my wall here that says the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. If you never take that step, then you're not going to have that dream that you've had placed into your heart, to have this great business that you've always wanted. FSC First can get you there. Having the resources in your community is going to get you there. You just have to reach out, start there. Again, she just mentioned a program, the Level Up program, the Small Business Development Center. If you're not there yet, there are ways to get there. Take that first step, and when you look back, you'll be at that 1,000th mile. You'll have that profitable, successful business to be able to get those loans or get those grants that you're looking for. Stay true to it. Keep your books tight. Get yourself a good accountant. Connect yourselves with the right people, whether it's a chamber of commerce or whatever it is. Outreach to your community so that you can have the proper connections, so that you can meet at FSC First, and FSC First can then introduce you to others in your community. And that's what I can say on that note.
Awesome. All right. because we're wrapping up really quick, I want to get to current trends and future outlook. So, Stewart, what are the current trends in commercial real estate financing, and how is the SBA 504 loan program to these trends? We've been talking about this particular loan program.
Well, that's a great question, and the answer is going to be very, very great as well. Over the past year, we've been seeing SBA 504 rates starting to decline. At some point, they were almost at 8%. They're now down to 6.33%. And when you compare
Wow.
that rate to the prime rate right now, 8.5, the SBA 504 rate for the debenture, which is fixed for 25 years, is really the best thing since sliced bread. Again, I want people to understand that rate is fixed, it's below prime. It should be something front of mind for everyone to consider when they're making decisions about commercial real estate. Marvara said this very, very eloquently. It's all about ownership right now versus renting. What happens when I and my team members look at financial documents from individuals, we home in on the occupancy expense line. We look at it to see, are you paying a mortgage or are you paying rent? And we can do a very, very quick calculation that knocks the socks off of a lot of people to say, guess what? What you're paying in rent, you could be owning a piece of property. It might not be Taj Mahal, but you could be owning a piece of property and have a very good asset on your balance sheet. So, quite honestly, the time is now in SBA 504 lending. Everybody looking at the news, our environment is challenging right now, politically, socially, internationally. We don't know what the future holds. So, I would advocate everybody to look at their short term lending needs and act on those right now.
I love it. The time is now. Let's answer Cynthia Marshall McFarland's question. She's gone on the website. She says, is it too late to register for Monday's business launch camp?
So she can actually send an email to Yakita Wilkinson, Y Wilkinson at FSCFirst.com, and tell her that you were on this live and you need to get in that class. And Dawn told her to contact her.
Yep. Throw some names out there, Cynthia. Dawn said.
She's our program manager for the Level Up program that runs those curriculum programs. So send that email to ywilkinson at fscfirst.com.
Wonderful. All right. So Larry, changes in the economic landscape like interest rates, market demand affect the SBA 504 loan program in the future. Stewart just told us this is the time to do it now. What are we predicting in the future? Larry frozen.
Well, me today, but I will piggyback on what Stewart mentioned. One of the things that we see happening in the small businesses quite often is as he discussed, you're renting, and then all of a sudden the landscape of the neighborhood changes, right? And the rents go up, and you've invested your time and your money into this place until this is part of your brand, this is part of your institution, and now all of a sudden you can't be there anymore. And so taking advantage of those low interest rates that we currently have, and hopefully they will continue to be as the market. The interest rates hopefully come down at least a quarter before the end of the year, and maybe even more. That changes. The other thing that I will talk about slightly outside of the 504 lane, but I think that is also important potentially for folks on the call. The SBA is actually tweaking some of our other programs by the end of the year. So keep look out for those things. What we're trying to do is for that borrower who needs like $150,000, for that borrower who needs $50 or $75 or $200,000, we're trying to create avenues and increase the ability for borrowers to get those funds. FSC is not like this, but other lenders typically like to go at the high end because that's where the money is. And if they're going, it costs them the same amount of money to do a small loan as a large loan. So they just say, well, why don't we do a $5 million loan versus a $150,000 loan? And so that's another reason for borrowers to really think about who they are aligning themselves with and who has their best interest at heart when they are looking for a lender. Because as we talked about before, this is a relationship that can be transactional or it can be fulsome. And you want to hopefully have a fulsome relationship with your lender where they are actually invested in your business as opposed to just invested in your dollar.
Got you. Got you. All right, we're about to wrap up in just a few moments. And so, Dawn, what is on the horizon for further partnerships between FSC First and SBA?
Well, for sure, being part of this new program tweaks Larry is talking about for the loan that's in the $150,000. Make sure sign us up, Larry, to make sure that we're part of that. And also, FSC is
absolutely.
FSC is an economic development financial institution. That means we don't just lend money. We actually do economic development. We do community development. So we care about the businesses that are, and making sure that these businesses are able to thrive in these communities. Because as Larry touched on with, strong businesses means there's more money going into households because there's more jobs. People like to play and eat where they live. So we're real focused on, community development and economic development and the impact of that and making sure those jobs do get created. And you touched on it earlier, Cheryl. FSC the SBA is our flagship programs. And then we have 12 other programs that help support that $100 million that Stu was talking about earlier. So we've got money to lend and we're not afraid to do that. So make sure you talk with FSC first.
All right. I love that. I love that. Marvara, I'm going to give you opportunity as a business owner on the line. And Larry, I'll give you opportunity to close with final words as well.
Okay. Again, I just wanted to express my appreciation and thanks to both Larry as well as Dawn and Steward for the opportunity to grow my business within the community. I'm excited about what's to come here in the Upper Marlboro area and expanding our services of health and wellness as I expand not only to just what it is that I'm doing now. So this community that I'm serving can stay tuned for a lot more in terms of a healthier, happier community. And so I'm appreciative of this opportunity to share my experience and partnership with them and having a successful business here in the community.
Wonderful. And I love the concept, right? For before and after school, everybody's looking for before and after school, and then summer programs at your business. I think that's so awesome. So is there a website or is there somewhere that people can go?
Absolutely. And I also service adults too. We have adult classes as well. We'll be expanding again with other services such as Tai Chi classes again for just that emotional and mental and physical well-being. Also, you can find us at www.smat, like smart, but without an R, smatcenter.com. We're located in the Villages of Marlboro Shopping Center right now. So definitely look us up if you are interested in martial arts or health and wellness, aftercare. Our summer camp program fills up rather quickly. By March, typically we're full. So check us out in January or February for the upcoming year. And we'll be happy and excited to partner with you in health and wellness or just your child's mental, emotional, and physical growth.
Wonderful. All right, Larry, we'll give you final words. Or anything you'd like to share? Can you hear? I don't know if you can hear. I'll give that to you, Dawn.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. I think it's a delay.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you to Dawn and inviting me. Marvara, it was a pleasure meeting you. Congratulations. We've talked a lot about businesses being economic engines, but I actually do believe to as well. And so I thank Marvara and all of the business owners online for taking the risk and for leaning in and building community. And I thank FSC for supporting those communities as they have for the last 40 or so years, and as they will continue to do. So thank you all very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Dawn?
So go to fscfirst.com and make sure you subscribe to our newsletter so you know all the great loan programs and grant programs and events that are happening with FSC First. And like and follow us on social media. We're on all of them.
Wonderful. Of this on our website at praisedc.com, our YouTube channel at Radio 1 DC, our Facebook at Praise 104.1. If you missed any of this information, it's living right there. Make sure you get the information. Make sure you log on to fscfirst.com for more information. Steward, we still love you with all the policing that you do over at FSC First. We thank you so much.
I'm gonna make one statement. Thanks to Larry. Know your stuff.
If you don't know it, come to Level Up. We'll teach you.
Come to Level Up.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you all so much. FSC First, Small Business Administration, Larry, Dawn, Stewart. Thank you, Marvara. Thank you for your story. God bless you for your business. Thank you for those who tuned in tonight. We really appreciate you. Thank you for your questions, very informative questions. Please like and share this with every small business owner that you know in the state of Maryland and across the country for SBA. But in the state of Maryland is what we're focused on now. And so for those businesses, make sure you guys log on to fscfirst.com for more information. Go to the Small Business Administration. Ask for Larry. No, I'm joking. See, people going to be knocking on your door, Larry. And so we just thank you and appreciate you all for joining us tonight, and have a great night. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.